Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rekakadash. Now, when you go back into the scriptures, it was an incident in Acts that was very important when it came to keeping God's laws, and that when Christianity came on the scene, it did away with God's laws, because the head apostles would have had the same belief. It wouldn't have happened thousands of years afterwards that God did away with his laws. When Yahweh Shah, who they ignorantly called Jesus Christ, came on the scene, he did not do away with the laws. But let's get this account in Acts 15 when it talks about this dispute of the Israelites at the time who believed in Yahweh Shah, who they ignorantly called Jesus Christ. Now, starting at verse 15, it says, "And certain men which came down from Judea taught the brethren, and said, Except ye be circumcised after the manner of Moses, ye cannot be saved." Verse 2, "When therefore Paul and Barnabas had no small dissension and disputation with them, they determined that Paul and Barnabas and certain other of them should go up to Jerusalem unto the apostles and elders about this question." So Paul and Barnabas got into a discussion, or was disputing with some men from Judea, and the men suggested that they go and talk to the elders. And so it says pretty much that they went to talk to the elders. Now let's jump over to verse 6. This is in Acts 15, verse 6. It says, "And the apostles and the elders came together to consider of this matter." What matter? Verse 5. There rose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees which believed, saying that it was needful to circumcise them and to command them to keep the law of Moses. So keeping the law was the issue, or was the matter that was being considered. Okay, and so it goes on, and they give all of their some of their testimony, but it kind of goes off into something else, because James got up and made a speech, and then Peter, I think, got up and said something. But let's go to 21. Let's go to Acts 21, and the story picks up again. Acts 21, let's see where it starts at. Where does it pick up again? Because they want this issue with Paul considered about this keeping the laws of Moses. Okay, 21. Let's see. Acts 21, And we're going to start at start when Paul and Barnabas got there. Okay, to the elders. Okay, let's get 23. Let's get 23. It says, do therefore this that we say unto thee. Okay, so no, not 23. 17, it says, and when we were come to Jerusalem, that meaning Paul, the brethren received us gladly. So Paul then finally made it to Jerusalem. Verse 18, and the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. So James and all the elders were present. Okay, and so what did they say to Paul? In verse 23, it says, they said, do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men which have a vow on them. Verse 24, take and purify thyself with them, and be at charge with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things whereof they were informed concerning you are nothing, but that you thyself also walketh orderly and keepeth the law. So the apostles and James, the elders who believed on Yahweh, they told Paul to go and do something that's from the law to show these individuals that you are keeping the law. Now, we know they wasn't trying to lie to those men or whoever that was thinking that Paul was teaching not to do the law. They wasn't trying to trick them. They was trying to prove to them that they was keeping the law, Paul and Barnabas. And so that's the evidence that pretty much proves that the law is not done away with, and the law was told to Paul to be kept and prove to these other people that you're keeping the law. Now let's go to Romans, because Paul talked about this in Romans. In Romans, the 3rd chapter, at the very end, Paul addressed the situation. He said in verse 31, it said, do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law. So Paul was letting it be known that just because we have faith in Yahweh don't mean you don't have to keep the laws. Verse 13, it says, this is in chapter 2 of verse 13. It says, for now the hearers of the law are just before God, but okay, so pretty much that's the main thing I want to bring out. That Romans 2 and 13, the hearers of the law are just before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. Not the hearers, but the doers shall be justified. And in the 331, now let's get the end of Acts. Paul made another statement. And once the Jews had tried to beat him to death, thinking that he wasn't doing the law. He couldn't convince them. They wasn't convinced. Now, what's this? Acts 26. Here's another account of Paul dealing with the law. Okay, so it might not be 26 because he made it very clear what he was talking about. And I think it's 29 or 28. Okay, Paul. Okay, let's get 28:17. It says, and it came to pass that after 3 days Paul called the chief of the Jews together, and when they were come together, he said unto them, men and brethren, though I have committed nothing against the people or customs of our fathers, yet was I delivered prisoner from Jerusalem into the hand of the Romans. Verse 18, who then they had examined me would have let me go, because there was no cause of death in me. Now verse 19 say, but when the Jews spake against it, I was constrained to appeal to Caesar, not that I had ought to accuse my nation of. Verse 20, for the cause therefore have I called for you, to see you, and to speak with you, because that for the hope of Israel I am bound with this chain. Okay. He said for the hope of Israel he's bound with this chain. Salakia. I'm gonna just end it on Matthew 5:19. It says, whosoever shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So no one can do all of the commandments perfectly or flawlessly, but you still are required to keep them and rehearse them. See, because that's the definition or the measuring stick of a righteous person and a wicked person. A wicked person will be breaking all the commandments, living willy-dilly, doing whatever they want to do. And a righteous person will be trying to keep these commandments and will be doing a good job at it. Because now you got Revelation 14 and 12 talking about that it will be people that kept the commandments and the law. And you got Revelation 22 that talks about those who have right to the tree of life will be doing the commandments. And so you have Revelation 12 and 17 that says the dragon will attack those who keep the commandments. And so it's going to be people keeping the commandment. The commandment is not done away with. But that's what Christianity and these people push, mainly the Edomites, who are the dragon, the serpent, the Satan, the adversary of God, the deceiver, the devil. They push that theology in their seminary schools and in all of their churches. But we know that Paul and the apostles kept the commandments, and they urged everybody to do the same. But I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Hashem, Kakadash. Double honors to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.